Hello, my family. So as today you see I'm in my t-shirt. This weather, I swear, it does not know what it wants to do. It's telling me spring's coming. We're about 70s today, and yesterday we were only in the 50s. Go figure. I'm outside today because I have to take these onions and I have to separate them so that I could have a better distribution on my bunching onions. And I thank the lady who actually saw that for me. And I took this opportunity, since it's sunny, it's not going to rain like it will tomorrow, and our temperature is going to drop again. I'm going to take the opportunity to get these separated. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that here in a bit. But while I'm out here, as much as I am getting anxious as well, I come out to my gardens every day. I look at my plants. I look at my situation around here. And that's where I'm at. I am making plans to keep me from getting anxious. My last frost date is April the 1st. And for most of my plants, especially like my tomatoes and my peppers, for me, a good duration to be able to start my seedlings indoors is anywhere from 6 to 7 weeks. It's a safe point for me, and so I have to wait. That's going to leave me about 4 to 5 more weeks before I can start my seedlings. And I know some of you are wondering when I'm going to start. That's when I am going to start. I'm going to start about the second week of February, second to third week of February. So when I do that, I'll show you my mixes I'm using. I'll show you my setup I'm using, and then I'll show you the progress. But I go not by my zones. Zones doesn't matter, y'all. It really doesn't matter. What matters is those last frost dates. I'm going to give you an example of what I did last year, and the reason why I'm being more conscious about how to plant my seeds. I had, oh my Lord, a terrible mess last year. I got anxious, and so I knew when my frost date was to a point. I do have a key point that I use now, and I learned by my experience last year. Though my frost date is April the 1st, my key point for me is Easter. And what I watched the pattern last year was I went by, I saw that Easter came, and our frost actually came in 1 week after Easter. Now for me, that means I can go 1 week before or 1 week after, but that middle point, Easter, is the one I need to watch. So I also have another app, or I actually Googled AccuWeather, and AccuWeather gives me a kind of like a farmer's almanac duration of 3 months in advance, so I can kind of watch my weather. And so that was something I'm utilizing again this year as well. So I would put in my area code in it, and it would give me a basic, it's not a definite, it's just a basic guideline of what my frost is going to be like at that point in April, and what my temps are going to be like. So to the point of last year I got anxious. I did not stay busy, and so I started planting my seeds, not knowing what was coming ahead of me, and not knowing that, well, I got a frost 1 week after Easter still. My plants were growing, and I'm going to tell you, my tomato plants, I was literally plucking flowers off my tomato plants because I didn't want them to produce in the house. They were getting too big. I was stunting the growth on a lot of my plants. My peppers last year, I hardly got any peppers whatsoever. Again, on some of them, I was picking them flowers off because I knew what was coming, and I could not stop this. It was my mistake. I started too soon. So I am now learning from those mistakes. And then there was the factor is there were some seeds I could have planted directly outdoors, and I didn't. I started them indoors. I had anywhere from, I'm going to say 20 to 25 flats of plants. And then there was that point I had to get them acclimated to the weather. So I was bringing these in, bringing these out. Y'all, I was so stressed. by the time it was time for planting season, I didn't even want to mess with them anymore. And to be honest with you, as the summertime came, I became so frustrated, so full of anxiety that my garden, because it didn't produce the way I expected it to, and I honestly lost my crops early due to the heat, and a lot of this was because I got to the point I didn't care anymore. And I do not want to do that this year. I absolutely care. I need these vegetables to sustain us for the winter. So I'm being more conscious. I am looking at my frost dates. I'm being patient. And that, to me, patience is a virtue. So I'm going to hang on to that virtue. I'm going to make my plans, stay busy, and so I don't concentrate on doing the same mistake I did last year. I do not want to climb this mountain again. I want to see good production. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to plant in the appropriate times. And again, that's for me in about the second to third week of February. And I'm in Mississippi in the deep south. So go based by your frost zones. Count at least 6 to 8 weeks is a good time for a lot of these vegetables on when you can plant your vegetables, and hopefully you can learn something by my mistakes. I had a crazy mess. A lot of my vegetables were so stunted. They didn't produce what they could have because I'm the one that started them. I'm the one that brought them into this situation. I'm the one that had to acclimate them, and it just got to be too much for me. I may end up using this one greenhouse over here that's empty at this moment. It is, at least, but I may use that to help shade off and acclimate my plants to it because it's a much shaded area to get them out there to the weather. So I may utilize this greenhouse area. One side will get sun more than the other side, so it's easier to work with them out here that way than it is to bring these things in and out all the time. I was constantly moving them out here as well from one area to the other, so I didn't get them where they would what do you call it, they didn't get too much sun. I didn't sunburn, just so much. I'm avoiding that this year. So if you're wondering why I'm not starting my seeds yet, this is why. I'm going to implement in a better manner that's less stress for me. Oh, and the other thing I didn't tell you that I end up doing, when you have to start your seeds, know that as they grow, and tomatoes and peppers and all, they grow pretty fast, especially tomatoes. I had to up pot those tomatoes every single time that they outgrew their cells. I started out in these little tiny cells, and then I had to up pot them again. I end up potting them indoors 3 times, and that 4th time was in my garden. I stressed those tomatoes out so badly that honestly it's no wonder they didn't give me what they should have, because I put them through way too much, and then I had to acclimate them to the weather, which stressed them out even more. And at the same time, so me, my tomatoes, my crops, we were all stressed. I'm not doing that this year, so I'm going to stay busy. I'm going to go ahead and work on things like this. I'm going to work on my plans and what I want where, and I'm just going to stay busy on the homestead and keep my mind off of, oh my God, I want spring here, and I really do. I want to plant my seeds. I really do, but not right now. So I'm going to adjust you over here to show you how I'm going to fix these onion sets, because they are way too close and I want to get more out of them. So I'm going to set you up and fix this up for you. Okay, I think I got this. So I'm starting with this bunch right here. I'm keeping the mulch here, but I'm pushing it aside. I am looking for the outside duration, but this is a big clump. So I'm going to look for the outside duration. I know that they don't get deep roots, so I have to be careful because I do not want to damage these roots. So I took a basic step out here. I'm seeing where these roots are, and I'm going to come in on them pop them out where I can get this bunch up in one time. I'm not saying I'm not going to disturb the roots. Of course I'm going to disturb the roots, but I don't want to do as much, you know, I want to do the least as possible. So I'm going to try to get this bunch. They decided on this tire rim to go right up against that. So I'm going to try to, as gently as I can, pop these out of here. Oh, Lord have mercy. There we go. And see, here's my, I knew I had a problem. So now I want to take and separate these. Now these are also my example. When you start indoors, these are problems you can run into. And when I start my seedlings, I'm going to go through more detail on stuff like this, the things, my mistakes from last year to what I've learned, and I'm going to just pass that along with you. So now I've got to sit here and very gently try to take this humongous cluster and separate these. I don't want to just come in here and rip them apart. That's just, I mean, that's just not my thing. So I'm going to try to get these apart as easy as I can. I'll take the time to massage them like so, getting this mass of dirt off of them because they are completely together, and this stunts their growth. So, and I knew I had to get this done, but I hesitated. Same things I'm learning this year. I'm not doing this again. I'm just not. I'm going to care about this homestead way more than I've done before. I may have to come in here and... They are pretty hardy. So, yeah, I'm just going to have to take some of these like this. Oh, sorry, babies. I am so sorry. There you go. And now take this little bunch. Is it worth doing this to me? Yes. Because I like my bunching onions. And so, alright guys, you're getting replanted. I know I just stressed you, and I'm so sorry. You'll like this later though, I promise. Yeah, I tend to talk to my plants sometimes. Now these infuse together. I'm going to lose that one. I may take some losses, but I've got some that in their place, so I'm not going to worry about this too much. And what ends up happening eventually over time, like you see here, they're going to grow together, so I don't want that too deep. Go ahead and fill this in. There you go. All right, there's those. Let me get readjusted here. I'm basically trying as gently as I can, but I am finding they have infused together, not just by root, but by plant itself too. There, that was nice. Now this one here, it's like a seed mass right here. So I am actually having to pull these apart. So I may take this mass and break it off in sections instead of breaking that onion, just like that, and I can keep my roots. Yes, that worked out perfectly. So I'm just going to take that mass and just without hurting, just like that, where I can keep my roots on my onions. Again, I don't want to go too deep. I just want to go deep enough where my tops or my bottoms are at least 1 inch into the ground and not the full entire thing. I know you guys don't like me right now, but you will later when you got more room to grow. And that's how I'm going to do this entire bed. I'm going to try to save as many as I can on this. But it is definitely worth it because I do want to use this, and I have a few other tires being unoccupied, so I can space these out really good between them. So this is all I'm doing at the moment. Just going through here, respacing these onions so I can get more. I go through these. That's a pretty sound. Y'all, I don't know about you, but nature out here, to me, it's like being in God's country. It's peaceful. Listening to those birds, so pretty. Just so pretty. Kind of takes you away from the mundane of life, and it just sets you in serenity. I call my gardens, honestly, when I don't let things stress me and I neglect this beautiful homestead, I call my gardens my serenity gardens, because it is. It's just quiet time, me with nature and the birds, and I don't know, I've listened to some of the other homesteaders when I watch their videos, and I'll catch those birds, and I'm just quiet to listen. It just changes the atmosphere of my mind. And these days, sometimes I need it. So I'm gonna go ahead, because I still get some frost right now. I'm just gonna take these leaves, crush them up a little more, and I'm gonna mulch these onions to protect them from that new planting in here. And I will end up having to use that other tire. So now I'm just going to go between, so I don't have to keep doing this in between these poor little plants. I'm just going to pick spots in here, like right there, with that mulch on it, pull these apart, and plant them. That was nice and easy. And like I said, I may lose some of these, but I'm also going to grow some by seed. I've never done that yet. I'm going to try it and see how they grow. I know I've done chives before, but I've never done bunching onions. So I'm going to try how that goes too. And if I have an overabundance of them, I go through them, so it doesn't matter. Put this one over here. I guess what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take the best of the best out of this bunch. Lord help. These are my mistakes from last year, how I gave up on this poor homestead. It happens to the best of us. It really does. It makes us rethink things, and like I've mentioned before, I just can't give it up, guys. So I had to straighten out my attitude. What did I really want? And I want this. So now I'm out here fixing my messes, learning from my mistakes, and how to prevent them from happening again this year. And to learn the one key thing as far as homesteading, growing anything. Patience is definitely our virtue. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these out, and I'll bring you back. Alright, so here's what we've got. They're all nice and separated. I lost 2 of them, and that's because these were so bunched up, and I was stunting their growth by not separating them, and I'd like to have a good crop, but that's not the only one I got. I'll take you over here too. So I had more than what it looked like, so I have another set of them. I love this, and the fact is that this is a gift that keeps on giving. So I want to give it as much as it gives me, and the only way I can do that is basically I need to take care of it. I know what I want in life, and I have to be able to maintain. So that's it. I've got two planters, a bunch of onions. That's so exciting. And then these over here that we started from store-bought, and I'm already starting to get onions coming up from them. That's wild. I'm going to take you in sections now where you and I had sat together and we planted seeds, and show you. Our weather's been up and down like I've showed you, but look, y'all, we got babies. This is so exciting. And see, things like this is what's going to keep me busy, because I got these fall crop babies coming up. And so I got something to keep me occupied. I need to take care of this crop. We got the radishes right here. We got these over here. I am so happy. And I get to watch this. I'm going to take you to the 20-footer where we were at too. Alright, this is the 20-footer we had. See, we got these rows of babies coming in. So I got lettuce coming up. I've got a variety of different plants coming in. Some of them still have time that, and know this, you know, it doesn't matter when we plant our seeds. These little seedlings will come up when they're ready, you know, when the temperature's just right for them. So these are our radishes. I'm gonna have to come in here and thin these up a bit now because they're old enough to start thinning. So I got plenty to do. I guess the good Lord's showing me that patience really means a lot. So I don't want to be in a rush. I don't want to ruin this blessing that I have upon me. So the only way to do that is by taking care of it. Now I'm going to take you over to a place my husband, Lord, y'all know James by now. He can be quite goofy. I love the man, and I guess he doesn't always understand me, and I don't always understand him. But he had ordered some deer seed plot seeds, and those seeds were basically foraging plants. They had radishes, they had wheat, they had collard greens, turnip greens, and in his mind is, well, wait, if I can forage this for deer, why can't I forage this for us? Let me take you over to show you what he did. God, love that man. So, like I said, I love this man. Sometimes I don't know what's going through his head. You know, maybe this was a really good idea, because if this produces wheat, you know, honestly, although I'd need a food mill, I could actually harvest that wheat and turn it into whole wheat flour. You know, we've got radishes growing up in here, and sometimes I kind of envy him at the basis that he did it, because his look amazing. And all he did, honestly, was take some of our, which I am going to do this year, take some of this chicken fertilizer that we have, and I'm going to put it in my 10-footers when it comes to my spring planting. I'm going to try that. I've got some old composted cow manure, but I think I need more, because these beds, we are now on our 4th year, so they do need to be replenished all the time. So I'm going to take this year some of our own composted chicken manure and add it to it, and hopefully I can get some better results. But if you think this is the only place he has it, let me take you to the other section. And no. Here's the second side, and it's directly right on the edge line of our chicken coop. I mean, look at this, y'all. These are absolutely beautiful. So I kind of wonder if I should take his methods. I mean, he didn't put no effort in this. He didn't overthink this. He just planted his seed and went on his way, and it's taking care of itself. So maybe I have to look at this, you know, maybe he's showing me something. I'm going to set you up, and we're going to sit outside for a bit. Taking the opportunities while I can. It's so beautiful out here, and I love this homestead. Now I just planted those onions, and I could smell onions. It just reminds me of spring. It reminds me of my future, and it reminds me that being patient is really a good idea. You know, in some of the goofy things even that my husband does, he teaches me something. I mean, I can tend to be an overthinker. I can tend to be such a researcher that I lose the aspect of having fun. I lose the aspect of enjoying the here and now, because I always think I got to be on top of things. But, you know, in a sense, and I won't make this a long conversation about that, but it seems like as if the good Lord above is teaching me to relax, enjoy enjoy what I have, you know, take in all of this beauty and stop overthinking things. So I'm using this point, or this time down. I went and ordered my seeds, and I'm pretty set on that. There's that comfortability. I don't have to go. It's like Friday. I don't really like going on Black Friday. It's just such a mess, and I don't have to compete with anybody. I did everything I needed. If they were out, I waited my time, got what I needed when it came in, and I'm all set. I'm taking this time to evaluate my homestead, look in my areas, where I need to change things, think back on how my growing season was last year, what areas I need to put tomatoes at this year, because in the 20 footers, they grow really good. There was only one problem, and I bought shade cloth this year because last year showed me it gets way too hot on them, especially in this other one over on this side. So the other problem I ran into is these things got so tall because these are only 7 foot high, and my tomatoes went plumb through my shade cloth and ripped them. So I'm taking and looking at the 20 or the 10 footer over here and putting my tomatoes there, and then I could cover that up. So I'm rethinking areas here. So I'm taking this time off. And honestly, since I've been doing this and going through my food pantry, working on this pantry challenge, I am keeping busy to where I realized, holy smokes, I've got 4 or 5 more weeks and I could start planting again. So it's going by quickly. In a sense, I really don't want time to go by that quickly because I want to enjoy what I have, but it's showing me that by doing things, keeping busy, it keeps me from jumping into areas where I'm going to make huge mistakes like I did last year. I don't want to go through that stress. I want to keep life simple. So that's what I'm doing. And then I have a new plant. All the rest of mine are basic, but still with my basics, I can look back and know, all right, so what is a good way that my plants need? I want to learn how to do that pruning just right. I learned some things about my squash. So I'm taking this opportunity to learn how to take care of my plants where I can get more from them. And then the other thing I'm learning is being able to give back what this homestead gives me. And I look back on the things that I've done, and I really never gave it what it gives me. And I'm blessed, y'all. And I was seriously destroying my blessings. So that's the reason why you're seeing me hold back. Patience is a virtue, and lessons learned are that. They're lessons learned. So it's coming soon. And when it does, I'm going to be showing you the setup that I've learned to use. It works efficiently for me, even when our up and down temps like we're having now. And it looks like, from looking at the AccuWeather site that I researched out from Google, well, I use DuckDuckGo, but I found the AccuWeather where I could put my area code in, and it gives me exactly my place, and I could look up to 3 months. So we got a couple frosts coming in, and these babies will be okay. It's not a deep freeze like we went through, so they can handle that, and it kind of sweetens their flavor a little bit. But it looks like I'm not going to have too many of these, so I'm excited about that. And I still want to concentrate on Easter. I'm going to look the week before and the week after, but I'm getting ready to start my seedlings, so this is awesome. I have a red Jamaican sorrel. Now, basically, that goes by zone, and they say Jamaican sorrels. And I'll explain what that is in a minute, but a Jamaican sorrel's best place to grow is 9 to 11. I am 8A, and I can grow it, but I have to know when to start and when my best time is. Now for 9 to 11, it could turn into a perennial, but for me, it's basically an annual. And I don't mind it because the fruit that comes from this, it's actually got a taste like a sweet cranberry type of, it's got a berry taste that you could make jams, jellies, juice out of. And that is something I want to try. I got mine last year a little bit too late. It was planted too late, and it just did not. We had a early frost and it wiped it out. Sorry. I love my coffee. I think I drink this too much. So I'm learning that I will probably plant those seeds indoors in March, and about September, October, they should be ready to pick. I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm going to try that. Another one I'm going to try, if it does not do good this year, I'm done growing it, and that is artichokes. We love artichokes, but I am having one heck of a time growing these. Like I said, I'm going to try one more time. My husband has this philosophy, 3 times the charm, so I'm going to put that to use and see what happens. But I want to grow artichokes, so I'm going to see this, if I can change my method. So I'm doing some research on them just a little bit more, and if it doesn't work this year, I'm done, y'all. I'm just going to buy them from the store. So I'm hoping anything that I'm saying might help, and if anything else, I'm taking this beautiful sunny day and I'm just spending it with you. Calm, relaxed, no stress, listening to the birds, feeling the air, watching the breeze, seeing the trees. Sometimes we need this. We need a time out, and I'm taking my time out. I'm sitting with friends and family, and it kind of relaxes me through the rest of the day. Now I do need to figure out what I'm going to do for supper tonight, so that's going to be the next thing for the Pantry Challenge meal, and I look forward to being with you. In the meantime, I won't drag this on much longer. As much time as I love spending with you, I'm going to let you go for now, and then we'll meet again this evening in the kitchen. So I'm hoping some of that little bit of how to separate these onions. Now I did know some of them I actually did buy 2, because something I didn't know about. Honestly, I just learned this because this is my 2nd year on these, but they formed in that onion set, and to me, I used to think these things, because I kept them spaced, they stay in that one section, but they tend to make a root base line. How do I explain it? Like a ginger. That's how I could explain it. It was like a ginger section where new shoots were coming from it. So I just learned something new by this. So I ended up having to break some of them, and that's where I lost some of the root off of them. But I kept 2. There was like 2 maybe groups I kept like that. But I'm gonna learn from these. This is interesting. I didn't know this before, so some of them were done by groups of 2, so I didn't want to stress them out too much. I'll see if I get to keep all of these or if I'm going to lose some of them, because whether we realize it or not, plants do get stressed just like us, and they can have a tendency of a nervous breakdown, shut down completely, and we'll lose them. I mean, are they any different than we are? So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I have completely enjoyed this beautiful moment with you, sitting here with you, enjoying this sunshine, taking this moment of break. And y'all, I love each and every one of you, especially those who are sticking with me. Man, you mean so much to me, and I can't emphasize that enough. I love my coffee moments with you, because I feel like I'm sitting here right with you. So much love to you from Parton's Heritage Homestead, and we'll see you tonight in the kitchen.